And we're back to Fluffy Flamingos, of course. Okay guys, the move is happening. It's getting intense, so that, again, sorry for the late upload. Today we're doing an episode of Silent Minds. It's been a minute, so we're gonna jump right into that. Episode 6, we're moving along right here. This is the Silent Minds t-shirt. If you guys like it, it's comfortable shit. And if you like the way it looks, and you want to feel as comfortable as I do, go ahead and head over to the link in the description box below with the merchandise link down there, and yeah, you can purchase it whenever you want. At a pretty affordable price, might I add. This episode is going to be brief because I have a dinner engagement pretty soon. Well, that is if they're serving dinner. I'm starving, so I hope they are. I'm going over to my parents' place to hang out with the family because everyone's gonna be in town this weekend for my sister's birthday, so that'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, what is Silent Minds? If you guys are late into the game, we are on episode 6 like I mentioned before. This is all about magic, card tricks, coin tricks, mentalism, things that you can do anytime, anywhere with anything. Borrowed coin or a borrowed deck of cards, or like in this video, if you have absolutely nothing on you, we're gonna teach you just how to get out of that situation, how to impress someone even though you got nothing on you. We did do an equivocate video, which is basically very similar in premise, that if someone walks up to you and you have absolutely nothing on you, you can force a playing card mentally. So I'll link that over here or over here, I don't care which one it is, and you guys can watch that. And that's another thing to add to your arsenal, something that I use literally every day. Used it a couple hours ago, not gonna lie, and it's very effective, very powerful. And I did it on a psych major and she flipped out. She's like, I love this kind of stuff, you made my day. So this is gonna be following along the same lines. We are gonna be forcing mentally something, and you'll see what it is because we'll do a performance real quick. Okay, there's a couple steps to this, and it is a math problem, so please, if you can't do it mentally, pull out a calculator and let's type away. I'm going to give you some instructions. We're going to come up with a number, which will lead to a word, which will lead to another word, which will lead to our final word. And yeah, it's a big thing. So whenever you're ready, I want you guys to think in your head or on the calculator a number between 1 and 10. I have some right here if you need some help. Once you've got that number, and again, feel free to pause if you ever need some time, I would like you guys to multiply that number by 2. All right, once you have that number, go ahead and add 8 and give it a second. Once you've added 8, I want you guys to divide that number by 2. Okay, this is where it's gonna get a little confusing. Once you've hit equals and everything, this number that you've ended with, that is your current number. The number between 1 and 10 that you thought of is your original number. So you're gonna take your current number minus your original number. Okay, so I'm gonna put up a grid here, the alphabet with numbers alongside it. This is a correspondent chart. So A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, and so on and so forth. I want you to find your number on this chart and just correspond what letter it's supposed to be. Once you've got that, again, let's try not to Google this unless it's absolutely necessary. This is a mental thing. I want you guys to think of a country that starts with that letter. 3, 2, 1, perfect. Let's say you got your country. I want you to think of the second letter in that country and think of an animal that starts with that letter. Again, no Google, just 3, 2, 1, you got your animal. I want you to think of the color of this animal. Give it a second. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. You got the color, the animal, the country. If I did this right, let me know if you guys were thinking of a gray elephant in Denmark. Maybe? Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll see how I did. Let me know in the comments if I got that right, and if I didn't, tell me what you did get. And we'll go over how to combat when you're wrong as well. Guys, today I wanted to teach you something extremely special, which is, like I said before, like something that requires nothing. Everyone's got a freaking phone on them nowadays. You have no excuse to be like, well, I don't want to ask them because they might not have a calculator. They can't do math in their head like a kindergartner. I fall into that category. I cannot do math in my head. Everyone's got a calculator. It's going to be so easy. I promise you it's worth it to just ask. And it doesn't matter if it's Android or iPhone or whatever. Even a flip phone, if it has a calculator on it. This trick is about as easy as it gets, just because what I said is exactly what you're going to say every single time. So this is one of those tricks you just need to memorize the pattern. So just like for the equivocate, there are certain scripts that you need to follow, and then that'll get you to the ultimate goal and make you look like a freaking boss. That's about the gist of this trick. So the first thing is think of a number 1 through 10. Now the equation that we give them to multiply by 2, add 8, and divide by 2 will make them pick number 4 every single time. So that's our force. That's the biggest part that will 100% guarantee you that they get the letter D. And I'm going to leave the instructions in the description box below so that it's a little easier to follow, or you can always feel free to rewind and hear how I said it, and you guys can practice that way. Basically, think of a number 1 through 10 times 2 plus 8 divided by 2, and you get 4. And that works with any number 1 through 10. That does not have a decimal or a fraction. Then the part that I explained, the current number minus the original number, make sure that you clarify what that means so that people don't get confused. It's very important. One other quick tip so that you guys don't mess up this trick with this force is that if they do, I don't know, they're thinking the number 2 and you multiply by 2 and add 8 and divide by 2, make sure that they hit equals after every add, minus, divide, multiply, whatever. So if they do 2 times 2 equals 4, make sure they hit equals after every single step, because some, especially the iPhone, if you just do everything without hitting equals until the very end, sometimes will get you a very random different number, and it's not that. So yeah, there's a quick tip right there. Just make sure they hit equals after every single step and you'll be fine. So then you're in this situation where you don't have a chart on you. I am lucky enough to have a screen and I can show you the chart, and it's easier for you guys to visualize. So my pattern that I mentioned earlier, I said during the performance, is very easy when you're only in person. So you say A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, and so on and so forth. So you want to go through A, B, C because they got number 4, which means they're going to have D. So if you say the first 3 options, then they're immediately going to be like, okay, so mine is D, and there won't be any mistakes. They are obviously going to be like, my number was 4, meaning my letter is D. It's about that easy. Now, this is where it gets a little more complicated. Again, we're just speaking and we're going to let them decide. But this is one of those statistical things that a majority of people will pick a gray elephant in Denmark. There are other options, but I'll explain to you why that statistic is true. I want you guys, if you didn't before, to Google countries that start with the letter D. There are not many at all. Denmark and the Dominican Republic are the only 2 that are well known enough. Denmark just seems to pop in the mind before Dominican Republic more often than not. So they choose Denmark. E, most people pick elephant. You get other animals though, like emu. That can be a little hard, but you mess up, and I'll explain how to fix that. So Denmark, elephant, and then elephants are gray. There is a specific color that people think of an elephant, so it's pretty straightforward. If I got you with the performance, then that should tell you this is not a trick that you should be like nervous about, because it works and it gets people a lot of the time. Now what happens if they're like, dude, you freaking suck because I wasn't thinking of that at all? And it's pretty easy. You just kind of take the blow. This is one of those tricks that you say, I'm going to give it a shot, and if I mess up, then I mess up. And there are cheeky little things that you can say to get away with it and not feel so bad. So some other options out there. Like I said, the Dominican Republic, the second letter is O, Dominican Republic. So they can say a red octopus in the Dominican Republic. So that's an option. They could also say a black ostrich in the Dominican Republic. So those are really just kind of your options there. You really have 4 answers, but one option is going to pop up more and more, and you'll hardly ever see the other options. One thing that you could say if you mess up is, okay, so I know that was a long process and I might have been wrong, but now I know how you think, and you can go into a trick that talks about influence. So you could do the number shuffle that we taught on this channel. You could do Tempest from Illusionist, and that's a really great trick all about influence. There are hundreds of options out there on making someone think that you made them pick something. So you could do an equivocate and do that as your second performance if you mess up. Or even if you don't, you could be like, this is a big thing all about influence and this next step and this next step, and you get a whole show out of these things. So this trick is great because you can do it over Zoom, over the phone, in person, every single time you have nothing on you. This trick is beyond powerful and can knock people out, especially if you have any hecklers. This is a good option for a heckler performance. It's not exactly foolproof. I personally, when I get a heckler, don't like to do calculator tricks, even if it has nothing to do with forces or anything like that, because they're gonna have that notion that, oh well, it's a math trick, and those have a stigma to them. So if it's a heckler, they're just gonna have that at the forefront of their mind, and no matter how impressive the trick is, like Cypher from Illusionist or the life equation from Peter Turner, those are great calculator effects. But math tricks, anything that involves a calculator, can have that stigma of like, okay, well, every time you do that, it's going to bring you to the same number. So when it comes to heckling, I try to stay away from that. But this is a good trick that I feel like is a good balance, because even if I force them to think of D, the rest of it in their minds is up to chance. So they think, man, well, he never would have thought, he never would have known that I'd pick Denmark and then an elephant and then gray. And it seems like there's just so many options out there to them because they don't know all the options. And really, there's just not that many. So you're helping narrow down the field as the trick goes along. And that's it. That is the trick. We're going to call it Brainwaves because I have no idea what to call it. I don't want the title to give away the performance or anything, so we'll just call it Brainwaves. That's it for this episode, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a pleasure teaching you once again on Silent Minds, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of Fluffy Flamingos. Peace out.